loss of life, behind the rush of time, behind the rush of
all cable is narrowcasting. For the definition, broadcast, it's broadcasting. Cable is narrowcasting. And the idea of the Cabaret Voltaire was to provide entertainment for artists. I wanted to do something that was television time, in a sense that to give a lot of information to an audience at home.
Do you remember the good old days of video art? Repetitive, simple, minimal, predictable. Those were the good old days before cable TV and the new technologies. Now we're thinking more about TV at home and the nature of TV itself.
When you do what we call avant-garde or experimental art, usually you don't have the support of the mainstream system, so you have to develop, outside sources or alternative sources that they can support your work.
Since its infancy, television was taken too seriously, and video art was not part of its history. Don't you think it's time we combined the two?
I consider myself an artist who define boundaries, and this is why at the beginning of cable television, in order to get your work shown or your work accepted in the cable system, you have to be an activist, because otherwise you won't have a place in that television spectrum. At the same time, you have to be like some type of organizer to collect funds, so you're able to produce these programs on a regular basis. When we started this work, among many other artists, the source of funding was very, very limited. Don't forget that in the late 60s, early 70s, for the majority of the people working in video or television was not considered an art. Was considered something on the fringes, and there was not much support in the museums or foundations.
Aren't you ready to watch television from a different perspective? Well, when you're ready, turn off professional TV and turn on the live show. A variety television program, the live show is cablecast weekly over Manhattan Cable TV. It features Dr. Davidovich, a specialist in curing TV addiction.
I watch too much TV. What can I do?
Put more art on TV! I am on TV now!
Another character on the show, TV, the poor soul of television, reminds us weekly of the TV set's unique position in the home. The video shop makes available to viewers TV-related objects.
The first item is an original Winky Dink set. This Winky Dink set is going to be available to you for only $9.95.
Several of them created by Dr. Davidovich himself, like a TV cookie jar and a postcard collection.
In the early 70s, Manhattan was cable, part of Manhattan, from 14th Street to, I think, Columbia University, if I remember correctly. From 14th Street to 57th Street was covered by a franchise that was called Manhattan Cable Television. And from 57th Street to, I think, 130th Street was a teleprompter. So actually, in the downtown area, we didn't have cable. But we were able to watch cable programs in some of the sports bars or people who have houses above 14th Street. At that time in Soho, there was a lot of interest in creating alternative networks. It was the time of the creation of lofts, was the time of the development of performance art, street art, interventions, video art. And I was very much interested in combining television and art. And I was influenced by the work of some commercial television artists like Ernie Kovacs. And I was interested in a combination of Ernie Kovacs with the ideas of the Cabaret Voltaire. The Cabaret Voltaire, that was the birthplace of the Dada artists, they have these soirees that was organized by Hugo Ball and Emmy Hennings. And I wanted to combine that entertainment for artists based on that cabaret, and at the same time, some of the ideas from the shows like Ernie Kovacs, like I said before, or the Ed Sullivan Show.
The live show features new examples of video art.
In 1976, a group of artists and organizations in Soho formed a group called Cable Soho. It was a non-profit organization and was created with the idea of developing a discrete system. A discrete system was a basic television transmission station that will cablecast to the people in Soho, but at the same time, if we can convince Manhattan Cable Television, we can cablecast to the rest of the city. Now, this discrete system, we were not able to get the funding to buy the hardware, so we were faced with a dilemma either to continue as an organization and trying to raise the funds, which was extremely difficult, or use the channels available in Manhattan Cable Television. Because of the franchise, and this is the work that a lot of activists, and that's the part that we became activists, we were able to get these public access channels. And we should mention the work of Didi Halleck, the work of George Stoney, that they were pioneers in developing cable access in New York City. And what it is to have 2 channels at that time that will provide airtime in a channel, I think it was channel 15 and channel 16, on a first come, first served basis. So anybody in the community could go there with a videotape and they will have a guarantee that they will show that program. So that gave us a great opportunity to take existing works of video art and put it right on public access. So we work up a deal with Manhattan Cable Television, and they provide us a slot of time that was once a week at 11 o'clock that we will be able to show programs that they were completely different than what they have in the regular cable television fare. And we started the programming in 1977, and the name of the series was called Soho Television Presents. And we show on a weekly basis half an hour of experimental art. And we have, artists coming from John Cage, Laurie Anderson, Julia Hayward, et cetera, all the artists doing experimental work in Soho at that time. In 1978, we started an additional program that instead of being live tape, pre-recorded tape, was live from the studio that was located in a building next to Manhattan Cable Television. From that studio, we started this variety show that was called The Live Show, that was broadcast live every Monday at 11 o'clock. And I created a persona that was my alter ego, and the name was Dr. Davidovich, that was the host of the show. And like in any variety show, we have invited guests that they will do performances, video art, and sometimes we will have interviews and open the telephone lines so the audience can actually talk with the individual artists. It was very important to stress the fact that this was one of the first times that people at home were able to watch this kind of work. And we started cable casting in December 1978, and we continue until 1984.
Sometimes it questions art.
Do you think people will watch this program?
I don't know. I don't know what you're doing.
Well, we're doing art.
The live show also features guests from the avant-garde, performance, video, music, comedy, as well as an artist who created his own country.
This started when I was young. I didn't like the world around myself, so I just decided to make my own state.
When the franchise Manhattan Cable Television was awarded, I think 71, 72. At the beginning was the cable company didn't want to provide these access channels, but because of the political pressure to the city by community groups, the cable company finally agreed to have these two public access channels. So the public access channel started cable casting around 1971, 1972. But they were just very little activity. They didn't have a program dedicated to avant-garde art on a weekly basis. That's the basic difference. They would have programs done by individual artists, but not on a weekly basis. The first artist to show on public access on a weekly basis his name was Paul Schinkel. He did a cable show and I think it was called Inner Tube. And the other artist who showed regularly on Access was Juan Downey. The show was called Video Transamerica.
The following is a message with a gift idea for the person who has everything.
I'm helping thousands of people how to deal with television addiction. I'm a specialist in television therapy, TT. Now I can offer you a unique gift idea that combines your favorite pastime with some useful items.
Dr. Davidovich's own video kitsch collection includes Winkading set,
Savings Bank, TV tray,
sunglasses, John Nagy set,
TV The Poor Soul of Television, and a collection of postcards.
The video kitsch is only available from the live show
at $49.95.
Send your check or money order
to Dr. Davidovich,
Video Kitsch,
152 Worcester Street, New York, New York, 10012.
For only $49.95.
Send your order now.
I think with YouTube is basically, in my opinion, is public access on steroids. You have all kinds of work, all kinds of information, and if you spend time in YouTube, you can find incredible work. You can find all the films of Duchamp or Man Ray. You can find all the works of Nam June Paik, excerpts, interviews. You find all kinds of things. What happened with YouTube is not organized. It's not in one place. You have to really dig into YouTube or search for individual artists. What I foresee, and this is one of the things that I'm so excited about what you and Jessica are doing, is be able to put all this work in some kind of coordinated format. So people, they don't have to go to YouTube and spend so much time searching for different artists. Here they will have a program that will have at any given time the work of performance, video, experimental art. And I think this is very important, and we should use this opportunity to have some kind of partnership with an organization or a museum that they will supply the context for this work. Otherwise, we'll go into that pool of YouTube and becomes lost. And I think one of the problems that the Artist Television Network and the other artists have with public access, we never have any kind of support from the mainstream art institutions. We tried many, many times to talk with people in the major museums, and here we are dealing with arts luminaries, even at that time, talking about people like like Cage or Flaxus artists and Chan Dupuy or Laurie Anderson or Cindy Sherman or Robert Long, and the list goes on and on and on. But we have no support, monetary support, economical support, or just support intellectually, or just a support that will be able to keep us going. And this is an unfortunate case, but I think now with the popularity of performance art, video art, that is now an international group, it's an international audience. I think that if you have your program in different channels, public access channels in the United States, and in some educational channels in Europe, Far East, Latin America, you can develop a very large audience. Art, or contemporary art, or experimental art, that was very much against the mainstream in the 60s and 70s, now is mainstream. All the kids in art schools all over the world. You can go to Bolivia, Peru, or you can go to South Africa or Angola. Any place you go, there's an international style. And this international style was influenced by a lot of artists working in these new forms.
Yeah, I'd like to see art on television. I have a colored TV set so I can see the color of cable television.
Video freaks, I think, should be more on cable TV programming. And it's too bad they took away the blue movies.
It's sort of like off-Broadway theater. Maybe regular television is Broadway, and then you have these people have an opportunity to experiment and experience and do different things which they might not have an opportunity to do on regular television because it's so controlled.
Okay, what do you think about cable TV?
I don't know.
Cable Soho has been working toward the introduction of cable TV to our neighborhoods. We are happy to announce to those of you who are interested that you will soon be able to receive this service. Cable Soho is a group of local institutions and individuals which has offered an exciting, unique proposal to Manhattan cable television, which will result not only in the cabling of this neighborhood, but perhaps in the development of a locally controlled, arts-oriented television programming. The goal of Cable Soho is to develop a system in this area which is capable of providing live cable transmission of concerts, performances, lectures, and seminars, plus a regular schedule of arts programs.
Since last February, Cable Soho has sponsored 3 programs on cable TV. The 2 by Doug Davis and the other by Bill Byrne were especially prepared for cable. At present, Soho is just starting to receive cable television. Live TV originating from Soho is only in the planning stages. But in the short term, Cable Soho is aiming towards a regular arts program on one of the public access channels. Cable Soho represents many individuals and organizations.
The live show was very structured. You will have a monologue done by Dr. Davidovich dealing with current events. That could be like the Whitney Biannual or the incorporation of CBS into the cable landscape. Then will come a video art piece that either I will do it or I will have the guests doing the thing live. After that, we will have a commercial intermission.
Soho Television presents a series of all-new programs featuring today's artists and tomorrow's art form.
The United States consigned.
Frankie's gonna kill us, kid. With dynamic interviews, theater, dance, fashion, and fiction.
People like
Television has never looked this way before. Soho Television, Mondays at 10 on Channel 10.
Wake up, America!
And then will be another live part that we will have an interview, and then we will open the telephone lines and people can call in. So that will be, it's a 28-minute show. It's a 5-space show, and make it, I will not say accessible. I will say show the work in its original format, but put it a context, and put it a context that is part of the show and was not like a lot of public access shows that they were basically, you know, self-indulgent talk shows. This one was very improvisational because everything was done live from a live studio, so everything goes. Was very amateur, but they have the other element that was very serious, that I consider that was the most serious art done in New York at that particular time. So here we have a combination of something that was very satirical, very spontaneous, and at the same time, very serious. And I think that was the context of the live show. The live show was not like Mr. Brainwash. For the people who saw Exit Through the Gift Shop will know that this guy, Mr. Brainshaw, was basically a Philistine, that they were trying to make a satire of the art world. The live show was very, very serious, and the work that we show was work that follows that, you know, guideline.
Yes, I want to be on TV, and I think more art should be on TV. I am Dr. Davidovich, and I can give you one of these.
So, amigos, vamos ahora a comenzar el live show y por favor, levanten el telón.
Live here from ETC Studios, and we have in the video shop. In the video shop, we are going to introduce a very special item today. For the first time on cable television and in broadcast television, we are going to offer a television bed tray. And you can see it here, the television bed tray. So when you watch television, you can relax, lie down, put the bed tray right in your bed and put all your munchies and all your snacks, and you can watch television very comfortably. So you can order this bed tray for only $4. I was doing painting in the mid-60s, but I was doing painting without the stretchers. I will basically go and intervene a wall, and sometimes I will hang pieces of canvas on the wall as part of the composition. As the year passed by, in 1967, instead of just putting the painting on the wall, I will use adhesive tape to hold the painting, and then use the adhesive tape to become the composition of the work. And from 1969 on, I eliminated the canvas, but I left the tape, and I started using all kinds of tapes, going from Scotch tape to masking tape and vinyl tape, canvas tape, etc. In 1970, I became aware of videotape. And that interests me a lot because videotape, I can see the extension of my work with adhesive tape, but adding the movement and the time. And I started working in projects that will involve the adhesive tape and the videotape in 1970, and developed a project that is called Art on Tape and Tapes as Art. In 1972, I was invited to show my adhesive and videotapes at the Akron Art Institute. And during that time, the Akron Art Institute purchased a videotape camera and recorder. It was a Shiba then, was before even Sony. And with the Shiba then, I was able to videotape the road leading to the museum. And in the museum, I show that recording as part of the installation of adhesive tape. And that was the beginning of my involvement to videotape that came from the adhesive tape. And from 1972 to 1976, I worked exclusively with video doing projects in New York and elsewhere. And from 1976, and then I devoted myself to work on television. Yes, that will be for another program. And like Dr. Davidovich would say, video, and we'll see you next time.
The art of life behind the rush of time. Switch. Liquid. Slow, clear. Red and blue. Vein